Welcome to My Vision News. Sunday's first video breaking news is from Tigray. Tigray government has released scores of Fano militia members. Videos, pictures of released Fano fighters are being shared. Will this lead to better relations between Tigray forces and some groups in the Amhara region? Because there are some splits in the Amhara region. We'll try to analyze it. Secondly, Humera Eritrean information minister was interviewed by a German journalist a few hours ago. I think this interview is meant to counter some recent news stories published by the BBC, Reuters, and other international news outlets. The news outlets claim that Eritrea had ordered general mobilization in the country due to the ongoing war in northern Ethiopia, of which Eritrean forces are part as well. What did Humera say in his interview to this German journalist Ulrich Koppel? We have details for you. And lastly, viewers, protests are being seen in western Tigray. Some rallies are being taken out. This is the second time that we are seeing a big rally in western Tigray, Wolkait, Humera, Tsegede. We have details for you. Firstly, viewers, we know that the difference between the second and third phase of this conflict in northern part of Ethiopia is that in the second phase of the conflict, Tigray leaders, TPLF leaders, were very critical of Amhara politicians. Amhara expansionists was the word they used to use for these people in the Amhara region who are in power, and they used to criticize Fano as well. Second phase was from July 2021 till November, December 2021. Now this is the third phase of the war. In this phase, interestingly, the statements of Getachew, General Verede, all other main people from Tigray only target Isaias Afwerki and Abiy Ahmed. No mention of Amhara expansionist, which they used to mention. No mention of Fano as well. Why is that? And now when some Fano fighters have been released, what does it indicate? Firstly, dozens of Fano fighters have been released by Tigray regional government. Now pictures, videos have been shared confirming the release of these Fano fighters, which is a bit not surprising, but it's a new move because so far no ENDF members have been released. Those who have been taken prisoners since the start of this third phase of war, around 3 weeks ago, no ENDF members have been released so far. Only Fano fighters are being released. It means that this release is with an intention. It has a motive. Firstly, watch this video shared by Tigray TV showing the release of Fano fighters. Watch this video, then we'll analyze this development.
የጄኖሳይድ ወንጀልና ደም አፋሳሽ ጦርነት አካሂዷል 670 ቀናት ያላንዳች መሰረታዊ አገልግሎት በረሃብና በመድኃኒት እጦት አስቸጋሪ ጊዜያትን እያሳለፈ ያለው የትግራይ ህዝብን ለመታደግ ግጭቱ በሰላማዊ ውይይት መፈታት አለበት የሚል ጽኑ አቋም በማራመድ የሰላም ጥሪ ያቀረበው የትግራይ መንግስት በፋሽስቱ ቡድን በኩል በተቃራኒው ደም በማቃባት የስልጣን ጊዜውን ለማራዘም በማሰብ በለኮሰው ጦርነት ተሳትፈው በትግራይ ሰራዊት በቆቦ ግንባር የተማረኩት የአማራ ሚሊሻና ፋኖች ከተማረኩበት ቦታ በሰላም ወደ መጡበት እንዲመለሱ በማድረግ የሁለቱም ህዝብ ወዳጅነት ወደ ከፍተኛ ደረጃ እንዲደርስ የሚያስመሰግን ስራ ሰርቷል። ይህ አይነቱ ለማመን የሚከብድ በጎ ምግባርም ተማርከው በተሸኙ ፋኖዎችና ሚሊሻዎች አንደበት በእንዲህ ቃላት ይገል
In this third phase of the war, Tigray leadership is not criticizing Fano fighters, Amhara region, Amhara people. Rather, in their statements, they said that the fight was not against Amhara region, against Afar region. And he asked the two regions that they should not be part of this war. And now practically Tigray is making some moves so that the voices against war in Amhara region become stronger. That is why Fano fighters have been released. And we know that Fano factions are split. Some are part of this fight against Tigray forces, and some are not part of this fighting. East Amhara Fano, led by Mere Wadajo, and Hassan Kiramo is obviously deployed, fighting on front lines. And this Fano faction has been operating in alliance or under the surveillance of Ethiopian National Defense Force. But Fano factions from Gajam and Gondar are largely silent. I have not seen statements from Masafent, Masrisha, Zamina Kasi and others. What do they say? They are in hiding. I think no one knows where they are because around 3 months ago, Ethiopian Federal Regional Forces launched a crackdown on Fano fighters. Thousands were arrested and Zamina Kasi, Masrisha's houses in Gajam were raided. They had to flee. No one knows where they are now. They are silent, and we are not seeing any active participation of Gajam or Gondar Fano in this war, largely because thousands of their fighters are still in prison. Some have been released. 14 were released 2 days ago by a court in Bahidar, but those were Amhara Fano unity fighters from Shiva. Mainly, still Gajam Gondar Fano members are in prison. So Tigray is making this calculated move so that the animosity or bitter relations between Fano and TDF could be improved. And we are seeing a counter campaign as well. Ethiopian federal government, Amhara regional government, they are sharing old statements of Tigray leaders, old videos in which they criticized Amhara region, Amhara politicians, Fano as well. And they say this is what TPLF really thinks about the people of Amhara region. And their new stance, their new position about Amhara Afar regions is a deception. People should not be deceived. This narrative is being launched by Ethiopian National Defense Force, Amhara regional government, Ethiopian state media. Tigray is silent. You won't see any statement against Amhara politicians, against Fano. So this is a deliberate move to create more divisions in the Amhara region. There is lack of unity in the Amhara region because we know that people are not as united as they were last year in this war because thousands of Fano fighters, journalists, activists are in prison. And they are still being arrested. Just a few days ago, Gobazisi was arrested. We has a Mohammed too, Amhara Media Center producer arrested too, then a writer arrested. So you see this campaign is ongoing. That is why Amhara elite living abroad, Amhara diaspora, is not actively backing this war. We're not seeing no more rallies abroad. We're not seeing large contributions from ethnic Amharas, financial contributions in this war. So Tigray has made a smart move. Let's see what the impact of this move is going to be. Fano is split. Secondly, was Humera Gebremeskel, Eritrean information minister, was interviewed by a German journalist a few hours ago. His name, German journalist's name is Ulrich Koppel, and This interview was given to dispel reports, to reject reports shared by BBC, Reuters, and other international news outlets who, for the last 3 to 4 days, have been reporting that general mobilization have been ordered in Eritrea, and all able-bodied Eritreans are being sent to front lines. Reservists have been recalled as well to their units. So that is why this interview was given by the information minister to share Eritrean government's position. So what did Yemane Gebremeskel say in his interview? Firstly, he said that this war, third phase of war, was triggered by TPLF, like the first phase. He claimed that the first phase was triggered by TPLF when it attacked Northern Command bases in Tigray, and the purpose was to attack Eritrea afterwards for a regime change there. And once again, this third phase was triggered by TPLF. Secondly, he claims Yemane, that TPLF has territorial ambitions. It wants regime change in Eritrea. It wants to annex Eritrean territories. It wants greater Tigray. So it's not just an Ethiopian internal conflict. Though he did not say internal Ethiopian conflict, but he implied and he tried to justify Eritrean military involvement by saying that Tigray is planning a regime change in Eritrea. Thirdly, he denied reports of a general mobilization in Eritrea. He said there is no general mobilization in Eritrea, but he confirmed that reservists have been recalled and they are reporting at their unit headquarters. So he partially confirmed that there is preparation ongoing in Eritrea for this war, but Canadian government also issued travel advisory yesterday confirming that general mobilization had been announced in Eritrea. Eritrea always justifies or tries to justify its military involvement in Tigray by claiming that TPLF was planning regime change in Eritrea, it was planning invasion of Eritrea. But Eritrea has not shown any evidence so far. Did Tigray fighters enter Eritrean territory? Is there any evidence that TPLF was planning a regime change in Eritrea? Even if they were planning, can you attack Tigray just on the basis of some report that Tigray was allegedly planning regime change in Eritrea? So this defense is not convincing. I have been saying that for months, that Eritrean position about involvement is in this war cannot be defended. Eritrea wanted to crush TPLF because there were border disputes between them. Yes, a boundary commission ruled in favor of Eritrea. Tigray government remained in control of those territories which were awarded to Eritrea by the boundary commission. So Eritrea resorted military means to take back its territories, but its military involvement was not limited to the extent of retaking its territories. Rather, it was involved in the war to completely wipe out TPLF. And that seems to be official policy of Eritrean government, though Tigray also wants to remove Isaias Afwerki. But not officially, because Gatha Choreda, in his recent interview, latest interview, I think yesterday, he said that Tigray did not have anything to do with who was in charge in Asmara or in Addis Ababa. Tigray was not interested in other regions and countries. Tigray was only interested in protecting the rights of the people of Tigray. Policy seems to have changed. Otherwise, Tigray leaders have been calling upon Eritreans to rise against Isaias Afwerki, and they've been backing some Eritrean opposition groups as well abroad mostly. Lastly, viewers, protests, government-backed protests are being seen in Western Tigray. Wolkait, Humera, Tsegede. Second rally was seen today. First was taken out just a few days ago, I think 3 to 4 days ago. This rally, you can see pictures on your screen, is from Kaptia town. Kaptia is in Western Tigray, Humera, Wolkait, Tsegede area. And here residents took to the streets to support Ethiopian National Defense Force. Earlier, rally was also in support of Ethiopian National Defense Force and Amhara regional government. Ethiopian government is trying to create unity, is trying to mobilize people in Western Tigray, because we know that Western Tigray is announced military target of Tigray regional forces. Though they could not achieve this target despite multiple offensives towards Wolkait. Even in this third phase of ongoing conflict, we saw that Tigray fighters tried to enter Wolkait from two directions, from Sudan and from Mesabere side, but they could not make any considerable inroads. And meanwhile, public mobilization is underway. People are joining the fight because Tigrayans have been expelled. Tens of thousands of Tigrayans, they have been expelled from these territories in recent months. And now it means that ethnic group in majority in Western Tigray would be Amhara, I think, because Tigrayans expelled in large numbers. Now, people living in the Humera region would be more pro-Ethiopian government than pro-Tigray. Tigrayans could be resettled here if Tigray takes control of Western Tigray. By the way, Amhara region claims that 30, 40 years ago, the region was mainly inhabited, Western Tigray, by ethnic Amharas, and ethnic Amharas were expelled from here by TPLF, and later Tigrayans were resettled. Now we are seeing that Tigrayans are being expelled and Amharas are being brought to this disputed territory. Thank you for watching.